Hello, friends. A game between Coach Pitino and Pope is an unexpected madness, but this matchup will happen. We'll all be like. Let's analyze the news about this big game that will take place in the future. And in this scenario steeped in tradition and passion, few games hold as much promise as the upcoming clash between the Kentucky Wildcats and St. John's Red Storm. More than just any matchup, this duel represents the confluence of distinct eras of the sport, with characters who carry in their trajectories the weight and legacy of American college basketball. Rick Pitino, a name that needs no introduction in the basketball world, will once again be in the spotlight. Now at the helm of St. John's, he returns to the whirlwind of emotions that involves facing Kentucky, an institution he helped shape during his glorious tenure in the 1990s. This isn't just another game for Pitino. It's a date with history. Commenting on the matchup, he made a curious and revealing comparison. I think it's no different than coaching against your own son. Obviously, it evokes different emotions. The phrase rings with a sincere echo from someone who recognizes the deep connections that sport creates between generations and individuals. And who is the son Pitino mentioned? Mark Pope, current head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. A former player under the legendary coach, Pope now sits on the Cats bench, carrying with him the philosophy and learning acquired during his time in the blue and white uniform. For Pitino, facing Pope is like seeing his legacy reflected in a mirror. There's an evident mutual respect, but also an inevitable competitive tension. The matchup will not just be between two teams, but between two coaches who share a rich and complex history. Kentucky, as always, enters the scene as an undisputed powerhouse. Even though the season has only just begun, it's already clear that the squad led by Pope possesses all the necessary characteristics to be a protagonist. With an aggressive offensive mindset and a resilient defense, the Wildcats are ready to face the challenges of a schedule packed with elite opponents. North Carolina, Michigan State, and Gonzaga are already on the agenda, but it's the matchup against St. John's that promises to be a game changer. Not only because of the quality of the opponent, but also because of the emotional context surrounding the game. Pitino, for his part, was full of praise for his former captain. Recognizing Pope's talent as a strategist, he stated, "Certainly, Mark Pope is one of the bright young coaches in the game and really has a great offensive mindset." This statement rings true to Pope's evolution, from a promising player to an influential voice in coaching. Under his leadership, Kentucky is regaining the characteristic brilliance that transformed it into what Pitino called the Roman Empire of college basketball, a powerful analogy that evokes the program's grandeur and dominance in the NCAA. But what makes this matchup even more special is the atmosphere that promises to surround the game. Atlanta will be the stage for this spectacle, a city known for embracing major sporting events with passion and energy. Fans from both sides will be in attendance in droves, creating an electrifying environment that could directly influence the team's performance. It will be a test not only of skill, but of emotional maturity. Both Pope and Pitino will have to manage their players' emotions, ensuring that the focus remains on the main objective, winning. St. John's, for its part, should not be underestimated. Under Pitino, the Red Storm have demonstrated impressive renewal. New York, the basketball capital, is once again thrilled by the intense and disciplined style of play implemented by the coach. This year will be no different, and the team approaches the matchup with clear ambitions. Although Kentucky is traditionally seen as the favorite, Pitino knows that upsets can happen, and he will certainly do everything to make them happen. When analyzing this epic clash, it is impossible not to highlight the symbolism that permeates every detail. On one side, we have Kentucky representing the continuation of a dynasty built over decades. On the other, St. John's, led by a coach seeking to prove he still has much to offer the sport. Between them, an invisible bridge sustained by bonds of respect, admiration, and, of course, competition. For Mark Pope, this game represents a unique opportunity to showcase his growth as a coach. Facing his mentor on such a grand stage is the kind of challenge that defines careers. Who did I see come out on top? Mark Fox, a respected and experienced name in the basketball scene, has had his contract as associate head coach renewed for another year, through June 30th, 2026, with a significant raise that brings his salary to $500,000. The decision, formalized in an agreement signed by Fox on August 7th and athletics director Mitch Barnhart the following day, is a testament to the value the university places on his work and the confidence it places in the leadership of head coach Mark Pope. This contract extension is not just an administrative formality, but a clear signal that Kentucky is committed to building a strong future, leveraging Fox's expertise and history of success to further elevate the prestige of one of the sport's most iconic programs. Mark Fox's career in college basketball is, in itself, an impressive chapter. With 324 wins in his career as a head coach in Nevada, Georgia, and California, he won 4 regular season conference titles and led his teams to 5 NCAA tournament appearances. His experience isn't limited to coaching, but extends to talent development, having coached players who became NBA draft picks and managed the complex dynamics of college basketball during a period of significant transformation, such as the introduction of nil partnerships. Before arriving in Lexington, Fox served as Director of Student-Athlete Relations and NIL Partnerships at Georgetown for the 2023-24 season, demonstrating his ability to adapt to the new realities of the sport. This experience makes him an indispensable piece in the puzzle that Mark Pope is putting together at Kentucky. The relationship between Fox and Pope, in fact, adds a layer of emotional depth to this story. The two share a bond that dates back to Pope's time as a young player at the University of Washington, where Fox already stood out as a mentor. Years later, it was Fox who gave Pope his first coaching opportunity, hiring him at Georgia in 2009. This personal connection, described by Pope as familial, transcends cold professionalism and instills a dose of mutual trust in the Wildcats coaching staff. "I can't believe I get to work with Mark Fox," Pope declared upon Fox's initial hiring, his tone a mix of admiration and enthusiasm. He was full of praise, highlighting Fox's intelligence, attention to detail, and ability to navigate the challenges of college basketball. For Fox, the opportunity to return to Kentucky is equally special, not only because of the program's prestige, but also because of the chance to collaborate with someone he considers part of his professional family. Fox's new contract reflects not only his strategic value, but also Kentucky's commitment to rewarding performance and dedication. Initially hired for the 2024-25 season with a salary of $200,000, the associate head coach now sees his value recognized with a substantial raise. The deal maintains postseason bonuses that incentivize collective success, including $20,000 for the Sweet 16, $30,000 for the Elite 8, $50,000 for the Final Four, and an impressive $100,000 if the Wildcats win the coveted NCAA National Championship. Additionally, victories in the SEC regular season or conference tournament will also yield significant bonuses. These financial incentives reflect Kentucky's ambition, not just to compete, but to dominate, returning to the top of college basketball. Under Mark Pope's direct supervision, Fox will be responsible for crucial roles in the administration and oversight of the men's basketball program. His role, as outlined in the contract, includes working with fidelity and conscientiousness and maintaining the high moral and ethical standards expected of a representative of the University of Kentucky Athletics Department. These words, while formal, echo the culture of excellence that defines the Wildcats, a program weighted with a passionate fan base and a history filled with achievements. Fox's presence, with his experience and strategic vision, strengthens the foundation Pope is building, especially at a time when college basketball faces rapid change, from the impact of transfers to the new opportunities brought by nil rules. The decision to retain a professional of Fox's caliber for another season demonstrates the confidence Mitch Barnhart and the administration has in his ability to contribute to the Wildcats' success. The University of Kentucky, always keen on innovation and a desire to maximize the use of its athletic facilities, appears poised to embark on a new era of experimentation at Kroger Field. The suggestion made by Mitch Barnhart, the institution's director of athletics, to host events such as basketball games and even hockey matches in the stadium that traditionally hosts Kentucky football matches is an ambitious move that reflects the university's progressive vision. While it may sound unusual at first glance, especially when discussing basketball, the state's most important sport, this idea can be seen as a unique opportunity to expand the cultural and economic reach of the facility. Kroger Field, home to the football team led by Coach Mark Stoops, has already established itself as an important gathering place for Kentucky fans. Under Stoops' guidance, the football program has grown steadily, gaining national prominence and strengthening its support base, despite a difficult 2024 year. However, the stadium's physical space doesn't have to be limited to football or the large concerts that occasionally take over the field. Barnhart's proposal signals a modern mindset, harnessing the potential of such an iconic stadium to create unique experiences that go beyond the expected. The specific reference to basketball, the sport that runs through Kentuckians' veins, is particularly interesting. While it's difficult to imagine an official game of the legendary Kentucky Wildcats being played on a football field, especially considering the weather conditions and the slippery surface typical of November, the idea carries with it a nostalgic and experimental appeal. It could be an opportunity for special events, such as exhibitions or charity games, that would further unite the university community and passionate fans. After all, who wouldn't be intrigued by the possibility of seeing a college basketball classic under the bright lights of Kroger Field, surrounded by thousands of fans wearing blue? Furthermore, the mention of hockey adds another layer of creativity to the conversation. With nearby NHL franchises like the Columbus Blue Jackets and Nashville Predators, the idea of a winter classic at Kroger Field takes on fascinating proportions. Events like these have become increasingly popular in North American sports culture, transforming American football stadiums into makeshift ice arenas. The vibrant and unique atmosphere of an outdoor game could attract not only local fans but also tourists from out of state, generating additional revenue and promoting the Kentucky Wildcats brand in an innovative way. This initiative is part of a larger effort by UK Athletics to modernize its facilities and explore new revenue streams. In an increasingly competitive college sports landscape, where programs must constantly reinvent themselves to stand out, Barnhart's willingness to think outside the box is worthy of applause. After all, the evolution of college stadiums isn't limited to spectator comfort or available technology. It's about creating memorable experiences that transcend traditional boundaries. It remains to be seen how feasible it will be to put these ideas into practice. The logistical challenge of adapting Kroger Field to host such diverse events is significant, especially when it comes to sports like basketball and hockey, which require specific conditions. However, simply discussing these possibilities demonstrates a commitment to innovation and the pursuit of new forms of engagement. And In a state where the love of sports is an intrinsic part of local identity, any initiative that brings fans closer together deserves attention. After all, when it comes to college sports, the impact goes far beyond the final score. It's about building memories, connecting communities, and, of course, dreaming big. Share your thoughts.